Probably the worst task about gardening is weeding. I didn't talk about it while we were doing it, but I wanted to take a moment now to talk about it. We have a couple of different utensils for weeding. In this case over here, they planted some ryegrass, which is only a seasonal thing. It was already dead, but it created quite a mat of roots. And even though they were dead, it was a mat. It had to be dug up. Plus there were other weeds living in it. When you have that situation where it's not just a few weeds or something, the best tool that we have ever found is this one. But I'm gonna say something about this. Women, unless you have the wrists of a manly man, this is not the tool for you. I do not have the wrists of a manly man. And when I purchased this tool, it was 8 or 9 years ago. I have no idea where I got it. Oh, there is a thing on here, let me see. Hound Dog brand. Well, back then, 8 or 9 years ago, we were gardening in ground, vegetable gardening. And for the winter, I had read to help your soils, very hard pan clay soils here, to plant over winter different types of plants. And one of the things that was supposed to be beneficial to the soil was white clover. So I scattered, I don't know how many seeds of white clover. And they grew. And they grew. And it was yay tall. In the spring of that year, we had to get rid of it. That stuff is tough to get rid of. And it was all over the garden bed. So I ordered this tool, which I used. Don't do that, like I said, my wrists, because it's a twisting action. My wrists were so inflamed, I had to wear, those thumb wrist things, thumb wrist braces, for weeks. So I've not touched this tool since that very first time. It ended up being the best thing to use. We tried a little auger bit we have for planting small things or bulbs in the drill. You'll see that or have seen that in the video, but we quickly switched to this object of terror. But again, warning, women, don't use this, because it's a weapon of wrist destruction. So this is where we are on Tuesday, April 29th. Time to clean up these weeds and also the rock. Now, Randy is using the drill here, as I mentioned, to try to, really do two things: to break up the weeds and the roots, but also to kind of try to break up that clay soil. We eventually did switch to something else, but he would loosen it and I would come behind him and pull it up and dump it. It took us all morning to lunchtime to do this left side, and we were pretty beat at that point. But my Randy is always about cleaning up, and we had red clay on the concrete, which definitely can stain concrete. So He's washing it off before we leave, rest, and come back the next day to do the other half. This may not look too beautiful to you at this point, but it sure does to me. He had scooped out most of the rock and we got all that side weeded. Wednesday the 30th, it was rinse and repeat day, doing the right half. Again, he had to scoop out a lot of the rocks first. We had to get those out of there. You can plant with a few rocks in there, which is what we will end up doing. But we were never so happy to get the weeding part done. And here's the tool I was talking about, the torture tool. And this gives you a good idea. Put it in regular speed there for a minute so you can see what twisting action you have to do. And it's really no fun if you hit a rock. It's time to fill these puppies up with topsoil, but prior to doing that, we needed to run the distribution tubing for the irrigation system that we're going to be putting in, and we needed to run it through that pipe on each end of the building, through the pipe on each end, and then that tubing will go back to the hose spigots on each end of the building. Getting the topsoil on our trailer in 1 cubic yard dump load was so much cheaper. It was half the cost of purchasing bagged topsoil, 40-pound bagged topsoil from big box store like Home Depot. So I thought maybe 1 cubic yard would be enough. No, I was way off. 3 cubic yards. We went back 3 times. So 3 cubic yards is what it took to fill up these beds. We were talking with our son Mark, the pastor at the church, later that evening. We were talking about it, and I said, well, I Googled and I figured out that it took 36 40-pound bags of topsoil to equal 1 cubic yard. You can do the math. 36 times 3. I think it came out to like 108 or something like that. And then you multiply that times 40. It ends up being 4,320 pounds of topsoil that my Randy shoveled, and I smoothed it out. I had the easier job, obviously. There were drains installed on each section, each landscape bed, under the gutters, and obviously we have to cover those in some fashion so that soil doesn't get in there. So using some landscape fabric, just cut a little piece and then added a bag of rocks on the top to hold it down so water would still go through, but soil will not. And again, rinsing off the building edge where we had slung topsoil, and then rinsing the driveway to get it all nice and clean. And here are some images of our finished, beautiful landscape beds ready for planting. The next day, it was time to bury the distribution tubing underground, and I kind of insisted, you are not digging the ditch. You're almost 68 years old. You are not digging that ditch. We're going to rent a trencher. So we did. Anyway, that honestly, it took less time than to dig with a shovel. But according to Randy, man, it was very difficult because the thing was not self-propelled, and the only way you were to work it was to not go forward, but go backwards. A lot of times having to pull it uphill, especially on the other side of the building. After that, he put the line in, and then covered it back up, burying the lines. And then we will be ready to hook the distribution tubing to the hose pipe, and I will show you all the parts that we will be using. Show that to you next. When you're doing drip irrigation, one of the things that I have learned and confirmed with my landscape expert is you always want to buy the same brand of product, from the distribution tubing, the drip tubing, and all the little connection parts, to include the timer. Around here, the best brand to get, the easiest to get, is Rainbird. It's a very good quality product. You can get everything at Home Depot except the timer. For some reason, they don't carry Rainbird timers. So that was purchased at Ace Hardware, as was the first two pieces that we're going to connect to the hose spigot. Got at Ace Hardware because that's where I found some brass fittings, two-way shutoff valve, and then a gooseneck. And as we're doing it, I'll explain why we're even using the gooseneck. This is the Rainbird timer. Very easy to use, pretty self-explanatory. It's in the off position now. The first thing we want to do is turn the dial to set the clock. Over here you got your up and downs and your OKs, and I think it's 9. What is it? 9:28. Say okay. It is Monday. Press okay. That's it. Next thing we want to do is set our start time. Didn't realize I wasn't in the picture. Our start time, 6 a.m. is fine, so we can press OK. Set duration, we want to run 15 minutes. Okay. Set run days. For now, we're only going to do every other day until the heat of the sun kicks in. So we got Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Here would be our auto. Right now we're going to just turn it off. When we check it, we can press this button, which means water now. If it's raining or we know it's going to rain, this little button, cancel watering. It gives us a period of hours that we can cancel. I believe it'll go up to 72. So anyway, you can do that. Oh, it goes higher than that. Let's see. 96. So you can cancel it for 96 hours if you know you're going to have days of rain. And that's pretty much it. Now we'll put everything together. First thing is the two-way shutoff valve. The next thing to thread on is the male-female 3/4 inch gooseneck hose adapter. This is not a have-to, but with the splitter the way it is, if we were to just attach the timer next, it'd be off at an angle, and we want everything going downward. I think you got it.
So we all good.
Okay, now the timer.
Take this rubber seal.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna build a box that will just slide over this and go to the ground. That all this will be covered.
Okay, to hide it.
To hide it.
Next, very important thing is your backflow preventer. There you go. Which prevents any soil, sand, whatever, from flowing back into your water system. Next is a pressure regulator. This is a 25 PSI. Now, everything with a hose is 3/4 inch. This distribution tubing is 1/2 inch. So you have to have a connection. It is a female 3/4 inch hose thread adapter down to 1/2 inch. And all you have to do is push your 1/2 inch tubing up into there. What? Oh, shark bite. Good to know. So now we just cut off our tubing to fit up in there. And that is really the install from the spigot. The rest of it I'm not going to be showing until we're actually doing the plantings, because the plants need to be in so that I know exactly where we want to place the drip tubing in the landscape bed. So we'll show you that after the plantings are all in.